enabled, and we'll set this to false, so that after we submit a username, like hacker123, and click submit, we can no longer submit another username. So that's an option that's also available to you. So yeah, that's the basics of creating J text fields in Java. If you want a copy of all this code, I'll post all of this in the comments down below. But yeah, that's the basics of creating a J text field in Java. What's going on, everybody? It's your bro here. Hope you're doing well. And in this video, I'm going to teach you guys how we can create a simple checkbox in Java. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. If you find this video helpful, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support will help keep this channel running. Alright everyone, we're going to be creating a J checkbox. This is a GUI component that can be selected or deselected. So let me give you a rundown of my setup that I have. We covered this in the last video. So we have two classes, a main class. It doesn't really matter what you call it, as long as it contains a main method. We're going to create a new instance of myFrame. So myFrame will extends JFrame, so it behaves exactly what you call it, as long as it contains a main method. We're going to create a new instance of myFrame. So myFrame will extends JFrame, so it behaves exactly like a JFrame, but it also implements an action listener interface. Within the constructor of myFrame, I have this.setDefaultClose operation, JFrame exit on close. We're using a flow layout manager. We're going to pack this frame and set the visibility to true. And then we'll also need an action performed method so we can listen for events. All right, once you have all of that, we're ready to begin. This is how to create a J checkbox. So within the constructor, for now, I'm just going to declare a J checkbox. J checkbox. And we will call this checkbox equals new J checkbox. We'll probably need an import, so include that. And then I'm adding this checkbox to the frame. So before we pack this dot add the name of your checkbox. And this is what we have so far. Just a simple selectable checkbox. Adding this checkbox to the frame. So before we pack this dot add the name of your checkbox. And this is what we have so far. Just a simple selectable checkbox, but we'll probably want to add some text. We don't know what we're selecting exactly. So after we create this checkbox, let's set the text. You can either pass this into the constructor, or we can use the set text method. So check box dot set text. And we'll place some sample text like, I'm not a robot. Seriously, guys, I'm not. And this is what we have now. I'm not a robot. Last time I checked, I wasn't. So there's this annoying border around the text. We can get rid of that. You have to set focusable to false. Checkbox.set focusable false. And that will take care of that issue. So this text is somewhat small and difficult to read. We can actually change the font too. Checkbox.set font, new font, and pass in whatever font you want. You can copy me if you want. So Consolas, font, plain, and then a size. 35 is good, but doesn't matter what you pick. And that's a little bit easier to read. So what can we do with this? Let's create a button, and when we click on this button, it's going to tell us if this is is selected or not. So let's create a button before this checkbox. So that's a J button. We'll call this button equals new J button. And we'll need an import as well. And let's set some text. You can either pass this into the constructor, a string, or we can use the set text method. So button.set text. And I will set this to submit. We're also going to need to add an action listener. So button.add action listener. Since we're implementing an action listener interface, we can simply just pass in this. All right, so we have an action listener that's attached to this button. When we click on the button, it's going to trigger this action performed method. So we need to check to see if the event that happens is equal to the button. So if e.get source is equal to our button. Now let's take a look at this button. This button is not recognized, or this action performed method does not recognize this button. That's because we declared this button within the constructor. So we should make this global by declaring this outside of the constructor, because right now it's only local to everything within our constructor. So I'm going to copy this portion, paste it, and we do not need to declare this twice. So at the top, J button button, then button equals new J button. So then our action performed method now recognizes this button. And we'll need to do the same thing with our checkbox. So checkbox equals new checkbox. Now we're going to determine to see if this checkbox is selected. So there's a function to do that, checkbox dot is selected. And this is going to return true or false. For now, I'll just print this. So system.out.println, and we're going to print the result. You can also assign this to a variable too. That would work as well. And let's try this. I'm not a robot. Oh, we need to add the button. Crap, let's do that. So this dot add button. I sometimes forget to add components. You will too, probably. All right, I'm not a robot. Cool, this says I am not a robot. Now I am a robot. Now I'm not. Now I am. So did you guys know you can actually change the appearance of this checkbox? We can set this to an image. So I have a few images that I want to use. I'm not a robot. Oh, we need to add the this did. And this is going to return true or false. For now, I'll just print this. So system.out.println, and we're going to print the result. You can also assign this to a variable too. That would work as well. And let's try this. I'm not a robot. Oh, we need to add the button. Crap. Let's do that. So this dot add button. Robot checkbox. This picture of an X, I just called this x.png, and a picture of a green check mark. So I want to change the checkbox to these images when the checkbox is deselected or selected. So I'm just going to create some image icons. Feel free to pause the video if you want to look for some icons that you want to use. So image icon, I will call the X icon just X icon. And then we have another image icon, and I will call this check icon. And then I will finish instantiating these within our constructor. Right here is good, I suppose. All right, so X icon equals new image icon, and we list where this is located. Since this is within my project folder, I can just list .2. We use the that we want to use. It doesn't appear to do anything, even though we can toggle this between checked and unchecked, selected or deselected. So we're also going to combine this with set selected icon, select the image when we select this checkbox. If you want to copy. All right. Right, so that's the basics of creating a simple checkbox in Java. If you want a copy of all this code, I'll post all of this in the comments down below. But yeah, that's the basics of creating a checkbox in Java. What's going on, everybody? It's your bro here. Hope you're doing well. And in this video, I'm going to teach you guys all about radio buttons in Java. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. If you find this video helpful, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support will help keep this channel running. Well, howdy, y'all. We're going to be talking about radio buttons in this video. So, the definition of JRadio buttons is that these are one or more buttons in a grouping in which only one may be selected per group. So let me give you a demonstration of my setup before we actually get into radio buttons. I have two classes, one just called main, it contains my main method, and an instance of my other class, myFrame. So myFrame extends JFrame, it behaves exactly like a JFrame, it also implements an action listener. And within this constructor, I just have this.set default close operation, JFrame exit on close. I'm using a new flow layout, this.pack and this.set visible set to true, and then I also have an action performed method within here. So let's get started by making some JRadio buttons. Here's a scenario for this example. Let's say that I'm buying you lunch because I'm such a nice guy, but you can only pick one item from the menu. You can pick either a slice of pizza, a hamburger, or a hot dog. So we're going to create 3 radio buttons, and you can select one of those choices, and we're going to place all of these within one grouping. So let's begin by creating a radio button for pizza. So to create a radio button, it is J radio button, and we'll call this radio button the pizza button. J radio button pizza button equals new J radio button. All right, let's do the same thing for a hamburger button and a hot dog button. So J radio button this will be our hamburger button, and then a hot dog button. So we can set some text. We can either use the set text method, or we can just pass in a string within the constructor. So just for convenience, I'm going to pass in pizza, then hamburger, then hot dog. And then we need to add these buttons to the frame. So this dot add, let's add our pizza button first, followed by hamburger, and then hot dog. And this is what we should have. All right, we have pizza, hamburger, and hot dog. But wait a second, we've been bamboozled. We can select all of these items if we wanted. So we can actually limit the choice selection to only one item, but we have to put all of these radio buttons within the same grouping. Because right now, we can select all of these, and I promised you only one thing for lunch today. So we need to place these within a button group. So let's place this here. We're going to create a new button group, and we'll just call this group equals new button group. And then we need to add these radio buttons to this group. We can do that by typing in the name of the group, dot add, and what are we adding? All of these buttons. So let's add the pizza button, followed by the hamburger button, so group dot add hamburger button. And then the hot dog button. And now we can only select one item. One thing you should know, every time that you select one of these choices, it's actually triggering an event, and we can use our action performed method to detect which button was selected. So within our action performed method, we can place a simple if statement. If e.get source is equal to, let's begin with our pizza button. If somebody selects the pizza button, then they get pizza. So let's do a system.out.println you ordered pizza. But notice, this action performed method does not recognize our pizza button. That's because we declared our pizza button within the constructor of our myFrame class. So this is a local component. We need to turn this global, so we can do that by just declaring this outside of our constructor. Since we've declared this pizza button outside of the constructor, this action performed method does recognize it now. However, we want to get rid of this portion where we declare this pizza button twice, but we do want to finish instantiating this, and we should do the same thing for our hamburger button as well as our hot dog button. So we're going to declare these, but not yet instantiate them until we're within our constructor. So hamburger button equals new JRadio button, and then we want to declare the hot dog button outside of the constructor, and then instantiate it within the constructor. So then the action performed method can actually recognize all of these components. So if e.getSource is equal to the pizza button, we'll print you ordered pizza. Then we'll do the same thing for our hamburger button and our hot dog button. And let's just use an else if statement to keep this simple. There's more sophisticated ways of doing this, but we're still noobs, so it's okay if we do if statements. So if e.getSource is equal to the hamburger button, I don't feel like typing all of this, so I'm going to paste it. Then we will just system.out.println you ordered a hamburger. And then else if system hot are, because when we select these, it's not printing out our message. Well, that's because we still need to add an action listener to each of these buttons. So let's work on that next. I'll just add them here. So let's select each of these buttons. So we have our pizza button, and we need to add an action listener. So pizza button dot add action listener. Now, since we're implementing an action listener interface, we can simply just pass in this. And then let's do the same thing for our hamburger button and our hot dog button. Now these radio buttons will be able to listen for events, and when we click on one of our radio buttons, we will order our selected item. You ordered a pizza, you ordered a hamburger, and you ordered a hot dog. This is entirely optional, but you can actually change the icons that you're using for these radio buttons. So within my project folder, I have 3 images that I want to use: an emoji of a slice of pizza, a hot dog, and a hamburger. So I'm going to create some image icons out of these, and we're going to set the icon for each of these radio buttons to that image. So if you have a few in mind, let's begin. So let's create a few image icons. So for my first icon, this will be my pizza icon. Then I'll do the same thing for hamburger and hot dog. And then within the constructor, I'll finish instantiating these. So pizza icon equals new image icon. And I'm going to list the file path of where this is located. Since this is within my same project folder, I can just simply list the file name. So my first image is pizza.png. And then hamburger, then hot dog. Alright, so I have all of my image icons set up. Now to add an icon to a button, there is a function to do so. I'll add them here. So type in the name of the button. There it is, pizza button. Dot, you can either set icon or set selected icon. I'm just going to use set icon and list the icon that you want to use. I want to use my pizza icon. So I'll put that here, and then let's do the same for the other buttons. So hamburger button, dot set icon, hamburger icon. And then lastly, hot dog. And now those circles are going to be replaced with our images, and they work just the same. So we have a slice of pizza, a hamburger, and a hot dog. All right, so that's the basics of creating radio buttons in Java. If you want a copy of all this code, I'll post all of this in the comments down below. But yeah, that's the basics of creating radio buttons in Java. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your bro here. Hope you're doing well. And in this video, I'm going to teach you guys all about combo boxes in Java. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. If you find this video helpful, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support will help keep this channel running. Alright, all you wonderful people, let's discuss JCombo boxes. This is a GUI component that combines a button or editable field and a drop-down list. We can create a drop-down list and select one of a few different items. So before we begin, here's my setup. I have 2 classes, a main class that contains my main method, and then a I have 2 classes, a main class that contains my main method, and then a myFrame class, which extends JFrame and implements the action listener interface. And then within the main class, I just created an instance of myFrame. So within this myFrame class, I have a constructor, this .setDefaultClose operation, JFrame exit on close. We're using a new flow layout, and we're going to finish this with this.pack and this.setVisible set to true. This is the standard procedure for us that we've been doing for this GUI tutorial series. And then we also have an action performed method that will respond to certain events. Now let's create a J combo box. I'm going to place that here. So let's first declare this, that is J combo box, and we will call this combo box equals new J combo box. Now we have our combo box, but we need to populate this combo box with a listing of different options that the user can select. So when we construct this J combo box, we can pass into the constructor an array of reference data types. These can be objects, or they can be primitive data types, but you have to use the wrapper class. Let's say that we want a drop-down menu of animals, and a user can select one of these. So a string is actually a reference data type, but it has to be an array. So we'll create a string array called animals, and let's fill this array with some animal names. So let's say dog, and then cat, and then maybe bird. So with this array of animals, we can pass this into our constructor when we create our J combo box, and then lastly, we just need to add this combo box to the frame. So this dot add, and we are adding our combo box. And then when we run this, we have a drop-down menu, a combo box, and we can select one of these items. However, it currently doesn't do anything, so within the action performed method, we need to fill in a few things. And actually, whenever we select one of these items, it's actually triggering an event. So within the action performed method, we will create an if statement, if e dot get source is equal to our combo box, then what we're going to do, well, we can do one of a few things. But first, this action performed method does not recognize our combo box. That's because we declared this combo box within the constructor, so it's local. We need to turn this global by declaring this outside of the constructor. So j combo box, and we do not need to declare this twice. Since we're declaring this combo box within the class, everything within the class now recognizes this. So our action performed method now recognizes this combo box. So if our combo box does something, then what we could do is get the current selected item. So let's type in the name of the combo box dot get selected item, and then I'll just print this. So let's put this within a print line statement. So system.out.println, I'm going to copy this and paste it. System.out.println combo box.get selected item. However, we need to add an action listener to this combo box because it still doesn't return what we want, basically. So we need to add an action listener to this combo box. So let's add that here. Combo box.add action listener. Since this class is implementing the action listener interface, we can just pass in this, and this will work just fine then. So then, whenever we select an item from this J combo box, it's going to trigger an event and get the current selected item. So let's say we want a dog, well, we have a dog, cat, and then bird. Another method that functions similarly to get selected item is get selected index. So for now, I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to turn this into a comment so we can ignore it. And then we're going to use the get selected index method instead. So combo box.get selected index. And this will return the index of what we select. So this always begins with index 0. So dog would be 0, it prints 0. Bird would be 2, and then cat would be 1. Here's a few helpful methods that you might find useful for combo boxes, and in order to use these methods, we type in the name of the combo box, dot, and here's a bunch of the different methods available to you. Let's begin with set editable, and we can set this to true. And what this does is that when we set the editability to true, we can actually type in something to look for. So let's say that I want to select cat. I can just simply type in cat, or I can select it from this drop-down menu and it returns that item that we selected. Let's go over a few others. So we can actually get the item count. So that is combo box.get item count. And then we'll need to display this. So let's put this within a print line statement. So system.out.println combo box.get item count. And this prints the current amount of items, which is 3. We can also add an item later. So combo box dot add item. So we need to pass in an object, a reference data type. Let's pass in a string, maybe a horse. So with add item, this will add an item to the end of this. So now we have dog, cat, bird, horse. We can also insert something at a certain index. So combo box dot insert item at. We need an item and an index. Let's say we want pig for the first item at index 0. So let's pass in a string that says pig and then an index 0. So this should be at the beginning now. However, it's not currently selected. See, pig is at the top, but dog was selected. So we can actually set the selected item at a certain index when this runs. So in order to do that, it's combo box dot set selected index, and you pass in an index. So if I were to set this to 0, it's always going to select index 0 when this first runs. So now our item pig is now selected because we have set selected index set to 0, and our item pig is now set to 0. We can also remove an item too. So let's turn these into a comment just to ignore these. So combo box dot remove item. And let's say we want to remove our cat because our cat ran away, but don't worry, he'll come back. So now we only have dog and bird. We can also remove items at a certain index. So combo box dot remove item at. And let's say 0. So whatever item is at index 0, it's going to remove that. So this time our dog ran away. He went to go chase the mailman. So we only have a cat and a bird. And I have one more for you guys. So combo box dot remove all items. And this will clear our combo box so that there is nothing within here. So this could probably be useful for something if you need to reset it. One thing that you should remember is that with these J combo boxes, we need to pass in an array of reference data types. For example, that there is nothing within here. So this could probably be useful for something if you need to reset it. One thing that you should remember is that with these J combo boxes, we need to pass in an array of reference data types. For example, if we attempted to pass in an array of integers, well, since this is a primitive data type, this actually wouldn't work. Let's say we're attempting to store the numbers 1, 2, and 3 and add these to our J combo box. So in order to do something like this, we would have to use the wrapper class version of this. So for integer, it is integer with a capital I and you spell it fully. If this were double instead of lowercase double, this would be capital double because this is the wrapper class version of a double. So just make sure that you're using wrapper classes if you need to store a primitive data type within an array. All right, so that's the basics of combo boxes in Java. If you want a copy of all this code, I'll post all of this in the comments down below. But yeah, that's the basics of combo boxes in Java. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's